Give a warm welcome to Mr. Brock.
The Herald-Journal does not want Lee Bright in the state senate. I can tell you that right now. Channel 7 does not want Lee Bright in the state senate. Thank you, Lee.
Down the Herald-Journal. Down the Herald-Journal.
If you want to see what it's like when the media picks your elected officials, we've got one called Barack Hussein Obama.
If you would, please give a warm welcome to Mr. John Hawkins.
Thank you for that applause, and Lee, I congratulate you on getting all of your supporters in one room. That's very impressive.
Former Senator Hawkins, he can bring up issues, and I think that's part of a spirited debate. But when you talk about taking campaign money, I just want to stand with Ronald Reagan, who I believe is the forebearer of this movement. And Ronald Reagan took money from the Log Cabin Republicans, which was a homosexual group. And he said, they give me money because they agree with me. I don't take the money because I agree with them.
There you go.
I believe that God is in total control. If it's God's will for John Hawkins to be the next senator, then I'm going to pray for him on June 13th. Because that's what God tells me to do. But we're going to have a little discussion between now and then. Now, we got voting rights acts that we have to deal with. We've got to please the federal government. It's not up to us. I don't agree with the Voting Rights Act. I think, let me tell you, I think this issue of racism that they try to point on South Carolina is beyond us. I mean, look at Tim Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, you look, it breaks my heart to see that folks want to divide us when we're united on race. I mean, we're all God's creatures. And I hate that, but that's what the federal government does. They've been sticking it to us on every issue. You know, no matter what we pass, we've got to worry about the federal government. People are struggling in the state. Everybody is trying to make ends meet. I think folks worry a lot about whether the government has enough money, but we don't seem to worry about whether families have enough money. And there's such a struggle going on now, and the government just continues to grow that our government folks feel so entitled, you know, to the earnings of others, and it's just a struggle to stop that. You know, as far as reform goes, we don't have the numbers to get real reform. We don't have a conservative Senate. We have a Republican Senate, but we don't have a conservative Senate. The problem is we elect folks that tell us one thing up here and then go do the opposite down there.
This country sure as hell been going down the drain. We know what we need. We know who to blame. United Socialist States of America. How do you like that name? I'll keep the USA and y'all can keep the change.
We're going to have some help. I mean, all we can do is try to, you know, hold off the surge. But I mean, we are outnumbered and overran. We've got the Democrats. You have some Democrats that vote more conservative than Republicans. And it's saddening, but to get real reform, I mean, a lot of folks, we passed some bills that have moved in the positive direction, but we definitely don't even have half the loaf. So I'm hoping that we get some help coming up. You know, the problem's the Senate. We need some new folks in there, and hopefully in some of these Democrat seats, maybe we'll get a little more conservative Democrat than what we have now. I mean, Phil Levinas is, you know, Senator Levinas fought us on Born Alive and some very just issues that would just make common sense. But we've got some folks that would rival Nancy Pelosi down there in the South Carolina Senate.
Mr. Hawkins, if you could kind of talk to that, your feelings on the conservation range specifically, but Agenda 21 and bigger sense.
I'm sorry, Agenda 21?
Well, that's what I said about a year ago. My friends help me with that. Agenda 21 is basically, it's very complicated, but it's a UN mandate that the United States signed on to back in 1992 to really, in theory, to herd all people into close, tight settlements and to start taking away private property rights to basically free up land and to have everybody live in dense cities, eliminate cars and do.
I have fought for life. I had actually, the Senate has been in deadlock twice over fighting for unborn children. And when you talk about reform, I think the fundamental right to life is something that we ought to recognize to begin with. I mean, that is just, it bothers me greatly that we as a society don't recognize the unborn children and don't give them any rights, but yet we worry about whales being on display, and we've debated just countless issues to give rights to animals and nature, but we don't protect the unborn. So that's something I've been fighting for.
Mr. Hawkins was talking about things being fact and documented. I don't want no words that you said. But, you can go on FitchNews.com. I read a little article on Mr. Hawkins, and I think everybody will go on that computer and look that up and see what kind of man he really is. Things on earth is fact and documented.
I'll keep my freedom, I'll keep my guns, try to keep my money and my religion too. Try to keep on working, try to keep on smiling. I will keep my Christian name and y'all can keep the change.